um, yeah, what a week to be able to share a little on this topic. I think we all imbibe this spirit of gratitude in so many different ways. And I wanted to title this "Sharing the Gift of Gratitude" because it has been probably the biggest gift in my life. And growing up and having the conditions that I had, and going through college and then working on Wall Street, gratitude wasn't the virtue that I was deeply imbibed in, especially through business school and in New York City, living the life that I was living. And I think there were conditions that shifted in my life, and those are the gifts. But it was the blessing of realizing that they were gifts. And so that's why it's, for me, it's the gift of gratitude, because we all have these daily moments. We have these major moments sometimes in our lives that are truly gifts that could bring us into that space of living from that lens of gratitude. And I've been living in India. I'm in my mom and dad's home in Los Angeles right now, but I've been living in India for the last 12, 13 years or so. And that's when things started shifting for me, because it was really this desire to kind of shift my life around from it being so me-centric to the idea of wanting to learn what it meant to serve. And so I stepped into this realm of this nonprofit called Manav Sadhana, and wasn't sure what I was going to find. I knew that I was going to dip myself in for a year at least. And it was just one lesson after another that I kept on receiving. And, initially my ego self was like, okay, I'm here for a project. I wanted to create a musical and direct a musical with children. I love children and I love the performing arts. So that was kind of my vision of how I was going to help and serve and be a part of this community. But, God had other plans. And, I remember within 3 months, I want to share a really special story, because within 3 months of the time that I arrived there, we finished this big musical production that we had done with almost about 300 or so of our children from these underprivileged communities. And it was a big project. So a few of my elder brothers and mentors were like, let's go take a trip to Dwarka, which is this, and Porbandar, which is the birth city of Mahatma Gandhi. And Dwarka is another famous religious location in our state as well. So it was March 12th, 2010, that we five of us hopped into a van, one of our nonprofit's van. It says Manav Sadhana Gandhi Ashram on the van as well. And we're on our way. And about 3 hours into the drive, we're like, let's take our tea break. And there's always, there's tea stalls along the sides of the roads in Indian roads. So Jayesh Bhai, one of our, he's been a beautiful, amazing big brother and mentor for me in my life journey. But he told Bika Bhai, our driver, he's like, as we reached this small town called Chotila, he's like, Bika, take a U-turn and go to that chai stall. And I mean, we were all wondering, like, but there's a bunch of right here on the side that we're on. Why are we taking a U-turn to go there? So Bika Bhai takes the van and takes a U-turn and goes there, and we have chai and snacks. And as we're getting up to go, we all notice this young boy, about, I don't know, 3.5 feet, 4 feet, little kid, like 4 years old, 5 years old, sweeping the floor and all dirty. And I remember Viren Bhai first goes up to him and just starts talking to him. And then Jayesh Bhai was in the bathroom and he came out, and then Jayesh Bhai is like asking him, can I sweep? Can you let me use the broom? And he's like, no, you wouldn't know how to do it. If you do it, the dust will all like go into the air and everything. And people were curious why we were engaging with this young boy who was considered probably an untouchable or an outcast, or nobody should get near him. And he was the cutest boy. And we were just curious, like, why is this young of a boy sweeping the floor right here? And as we started engaging with him, people around us, they also noticed that our vans had Gandhi ashram. So they're like, maybe they're from a place that helps people or whatever. And they started talking to us and sharing his story. And what we realized and found out was 3 months earlier, he hopped off a bus by himself, and he's around 4.5 years old at that time, with his backpack, his birth certificate inside, or maybe like 5 years old, and all this information, like a phone list inside. But somebody must have dropped him on that bus because he came from a town 5 hours away, Baroda. So this story just it became really saddening for us, but then also like, we have to do something. This kid can't be living here on the streets. But what was amazing was the chaiwala, the man who owns a tea stall on the road, he took him in for the last 3 months and has been feeding him tea and biscuits and gave him a home to sleep. And he's just helped working there with him, right? So it's child labor on one end, and it's this beautiful gift of giving this kid something. And so anyways, the story unfolds where we end up going to the police station. We end up calling this police station of where the kid is from, the other town. And we get approval that we're going to take him with us. Okay. And so this journey unfolds where his name is Nitesh, but Jayesh Bhai decided to call him Krishna because we were on this town that the Lord God Krishna in the Hindu religion spent a lot of his time in, Dwarka. And because we were on this trip to Dwarka, Jayesh Bhai said, we're going to call him Krishna. And so we take him on this journey. I'll show you a few pictures. I'm going to share my screen. I'll share you a few pictures of this young boy on the day we picked him up. This is after we got him just a quick new pair of clothes. So this wasn't even at the tea stall. We went shopping after we picked him up and got him a few, some clothes. He was crying a lot on our trip, but then he was also pretty happy. And yeah, we went on this journey with him, and I don't want to make this too long of a story, but we went on a 7-day journey together. We came back to that same tea stall 7 days later. We told him that we're going to take him back with us. He lived with all of us for the following 6 months, and just everybody in our community. He was a community child. And then Jayesh Bhai decided that, he was a trustee at this amazing private school in near Mumbai, and we placed him there. We visited his village and found out that his 2 sisters were sold by his uncle. His mother was dead. Father was in jail. We found a number for his grandma, who did not want to talk with us, so she said she doesn't want to meet with us. And this was back at his village, so we came back and we took him on as our community, as our child, and he's been going to school. And then amazingly, Jayesh Bhai and Anarban, his wife, decided that they're going to make him a part of their lives, and they've adopted him. And I'll just share one last photo of him more recently. But this is Krishna, I think a year or 2 ago. I think he's in 11th grade now. And it's just, it's an amazing story to me, because there are millions of these type of situations going on in the world, and we happen to bump into one of them, randomly. What Krishna and so many children and so many situations on this planet have taught me, probably my number one lesson in life right now, is to never complain. And that has gone a long way for me to bring so much more joy and contentment in my life, and appreciation for the more mundane things, the simple things. And then at the same time, I struggle a lot because I feel so privileged. I have parents and a family here in America. I have so many resources at my doorstep, whether it's just friends or family or communities like us right here. But then there's this other lesson that was taught to me, and it was saying, don't feel guilt, especially being in India where I'm at. There's an easy chance to constantly feel guilt with the communities that I work and serve in. But actually, I always tell myself and others to move from guilt to gratitude. And it's in that space of gratitude where you feel so abundant that the only thing you want to do is give back somehow. And so it's moving from guilt to gratitude, but it's going from gratitude to giving of yourself. It's not of stuff, but it's just, how do I make use of this experience of gratitude that I'm feeling, that my body and heart is feeling inside of me? And how does that translate to the love for others and myself? And so that's been a beautiful gift. And, I try to take it even with my nephew in India. He's, my cousin is really well to do. And so we go on these family vacations once in a while where I get to hop along because we're all really close. My nephew, though, to me, it's the most important thing that he grows up humble amidst the resources that he has around us. So even when we're at a 5-star resort, one of the things I try to practice is this: if we're at a resort or we're on a vacation, please don't bring any complaints on board, because they are not allowed. So with my nephew, and he's such a good soul, good young soul. So he plays along. So I was like, I want us to practice no complaining for 24 hours, and this game that we get into. And it was so cute because I remember this time the resort was so big that they had to bring golf carts. You have to call a golf cart to pick you up at this place. We were in Goa, I think, and we're already in tune with this game of no complaining, and he was all about it as well. And we're waiting, and it was about 25 minutes or so, and the golf cart still didn't come. And we knew what we were kind of feeling inside, this what kind of place is this, and how many times do we have to call? But because of the active desire to practice, we started joking around and saying, well, hey, we're getting this time to walk around, we're exercising, we're getting a chance to just talk instead of going and doing an activity. And we were jokingly, but yet really feeling that kind of respect for the moment. That, man, it's so much better not to complain and to make productive use of what you have around you, no matter whether it's a very awesome situation where you better not complain, or it's a tough situation. There's this quote I wanted to share by Tom Walsh. I feel this a lot, and I felt this last week. He says, I'm trying to develop an attitude that reflects gratitude for everything. And it's a strange concept, I know, because what happens when something bad happens? So I get sick. Am I supposed to be thankful for the sickness? Well, he says, when I think about it, I can actually be thankful that my body's immune system fights off the invading germs or virus, right? Because not everybody's body is constantly doing that. I can be thankful for the time that I had to recover. For me, I know, I was watching movies last week. I was getting treated food by my mom and dad, every 2 hours. I had time to recover. I had a home to recover in. I had loving people. He continues, and the people who have spent so much time and energy doing research and development so that their medicines will help my body. I mean, I was popping a Tylenol every 6 hours, and it was helping bringing my fever down last week. And yet, if there wasn't that, I mean, so much to be grateful for. He continues, there was a time when pneumonia was often fatal, yet in our area, we have antibiotics that kill it before it can kill us. And there are still some countries where people don't have access to those medicines. So he just concludes, so while I may not be thankful for the sickness, I can be thankful in sickness. Tom Walsh. I mean, so well said, that every opportunity, there is every moment, every event, there is a chance to look at it from a different lens. And when we do that, there's just so many human benefits, so many healing benefits, so many soulful benefits to our lives. And imagine if we're able to make that a way of living instead of an experiment. If we are able to say, how do I practice this enough that it just becomes my way of life? That things start not to faze me as much, because just being here on this rock that's rotating at 1,000 miles per hour in the middle of space around the sun, just being here is already the blessing, and everything's a cherry on top. And however many hours or moments we get is a blessing. I love to think of that song, 525,600 minutes. It is true. It's like these moments, these minutes that we have are all gifts. And I remember a very dear sister, my Guri, she did the Camino del Santiago. She was walking this pilgrimage from France to Spain, and she made gratitude her meditation for the walking pilgrimage of, I think, 2-3 months. She wrote a poem, and at the end of the poem, she says, "Be grateful, pilgrim, for gratitude and suffering cannot coexist." And if we just pause on that for a moment. Gratitude and suffering cannot coexist. When I started this journey moving to India, that was one of my goals also, was like, man, I feel like as human beings, we have the capacity to really minimize our suffering if we want to, if we intentionally work at it. And hearing this phrase really opened my heart to even more, just realizing, wow, that's so true. The moment I'm not complaining, the moment I'm seeing the good in the situation or in the person, there's no way I can suffer. I don't have room to start digging myself into this hole of negativity. And suffering is just that. It's just the mind creating it's the egoic mind wanting to feel pity for oneself or to judge others or to create this space. And gratitude, this idea of seeing the positive, seeing the beauty in a situation, in a person, in a moment, just pushes that aside and says, sorry, not welcome here. It just has an immense force over the mental being of suffering, and gratitude wins every time. And again, how do we get there? Well, we have to find the gifts in the day that are providing us the opportunity to practice. And, I know we were just talking before this, Zoom, Facebook and all these things that have so much noise and negativity. And yet maybe you take one piece a day from that and say, let me realize how this is actually a gift for me. This negative news or this noise that we're all facing every day, it's not like you can shield yourself from it. How do I transform that into a gift of gratitude? Because bad news, there's a gift in it. Challenges that we're going through, there's a gift in it. And it's not easy. That's where I think it really does come to that intention that we want to make this a part of our practice. And then the lens starts shifting little by little. The suffering starts minimizing a little more. The joy in the day, there's more moments of joy. There's more moments of contentment in the small things. And I feel like that has been another big lesson for me, is how important small things are. And I think graduating from business school and doing things at a macro level, thinking or having dialogue with people that are thinking so macro is so beautiful, right? Perspective is important, but sometimes I feel like I lost the concept of little things. And for me, it was a gift when we met Krishna, for example, to learn from mentors like Jayesh Bhai and Viren Bhai, who for them, it's automatic to go connect with that little boy. It's part of their being to see the small things and to connect with the small things. And in that way, we start finding joy in daily life. We're not looking for big moments anymore, and big moments may come, and those are also beautiful. But the daily acts of living become joyous and abundant, and we're grateful for that. So, I wanted to share one more story, but I think we're kind of out of time, so I'm going to share just a last poem from the song Grateful, because it really does kind of capture a lot for me. It's every day I sit and pray, because what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? It doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen. I can just complain and moan, of course, but there's a million things that I can be grateful for. So thank you. And I really pray, that we all continue to find our gifts every day. Those daily gifts are given to us every day to say, hey, I'm here to let you know that there's more room to be grateful, or you have a lot, you are blessed, you are abundant, and to not overlook that, and to see that, and to live from that space so that you can overflow with compassion and kindness. Love you all. Thank you all for being in community and inviting me to be a part of it.